In 1971, a German engineer founded the European Management Forum, which was renamed the World Economic Forum 16 years later. It meets annually in Davos, Switzerland. Its members are the world's largest 1,000 corporations. Most of us haven't heard of this organization, but do they have plans for you? In 2017, China attended the summit for the first time. This year, in 2022, Klaus Schwab opened the conference and praised China's leader, Xi Jinping, for his significant economic and social achievements. China's society is a one-party, top-down, communist system, exactly the kind desired and revered by the attendees of the World Economic Forum. Think of China's impact on your life in the last 5 years. Those at the World Economic Forum love that and want more of it. One of the goals of the World Economic Forum is a concept called net zero, which concerns itself with eliminating catastrophic climate change by transitioning the global economy to net zero carbon emissions. Their estimates of this transition will require an investment of $50 trillion. We're in the midst of that transition now. Joe Biden has said so himself.
When it comes to the gas prices, we're going through an incredible transition that is taking place that, God willing, when it's over, will be stronger and the world will be stronger and less reliant on fossil fuels when this is over.
Who pays for this expensive transition? The poor, those who live paycheck to paycheck, which is 70% of Americans. We've seen our own political leaders ignore the economic impact by refusing to allow drilling on our own lands, but the Biden administration reaches out to our enemies, like Venezuela and Russia, for oil and gas. Domestically, here in America, Biden wants to shut down fossil fuels in a transition to green energy and net zero, and you'll bear that cost. Limousine liberals will drive their electric cars and laugh at those who can't afford them. They power their vehicles with electricity generated by fossil fuels. And as they do, we're told to be on the lookout for brownouts and rolling blackouts because green energy isn't reliable in every weather condition like oil and gas. The kicker in all of this net zero nonsense is that in his opening remarks, Klaus Schwab said, "We must narrow the gap between the rich and the poor." What a virtue signaling statement. Their plans do the exact opposite of that by forcing an energy transition that only the rich can afford. The World Economic Forum also pushes something Schwab calls stakeholder capitalism. Elizabeth Warren loves this concept. In this system, no longer are those who buy stocks in a corporation the owners. Profit is no longer the chief motive. Rather, they create arbitrary social goals. This is why we see companies today take actions that are contrary to profit. The stock price can take a hit if the company is perceived to eradicate climate change and catalyze social change. This is where the newly minted environmental, social, and governance scores come in, also known as ESG scores. ESG metrics for all corporations include non-financial measurements centered around greenhouse gas emissions, pay equality, and board diversity. This short video only scratches the surface of the so-called Davos agenda, but you need to be aware that our politicians are receiving big donations from big corporations that are pressured into the Davos agenda. This agenda is contrary to your interests. They'll try to snow you and convince you that they're concerned about your prosperity and well-being, but this great reset, as they're calling it, this global transition that they seek, takes your power and your earnings away from you and your family and gives it to the rich and the powerful. We the people must fight it. It's un-American. Any Texas politician who listens to the Davos crowd must be replaced with a true representative of the people.